CFE Academy, which provides training and webinar services to raise awareness and to get to just give some kind of training and other seminars on generally on information security, cyber risk management, governance issues, and also compliance, mainly based on the best practices and standards, which is kind of ISO 27001 information security, ISO 9001 quality management, and other cybersecurity issues. And about myself, as an enterprise management risk and compliance professional, my name is Ezgi Ozdemir. As an enterprise risk and compliance professional, I have over 15 years of experience in the field of ERM, enterprise risk management. I had the chance working with different standards and guides such as ERM, COSO, ISO, and BS. I'm also the lead auditor of ISO 9001 quality management and auditor of ISO 7001 information security and many other standards. I have led and managed various projects in the areas of GRC, risk management, and also business continuity in the areas of financial, operational, cyber, reputational, and compliance risks. And I'm happy to be here presenting this GRC topic to you. Hope you find it useful. Of course, we will start with the definitions of the components of GRC. The acronym GRC was first coined nearly 2 decades ago by OCEG. You might know the OCEG. It's formerly the Open Compliance and Ethics Group. The term GRC was coined in 2007 by OCEG as a shorthand reference to critical capabilities and critical capabilities that integrate the governance, management, assurance of performance, risk, and compliance activities. GRC today spans multiple disciplines, including enterprise risk management, compliance, third-party risk management, internal audit, and more. While each of discipline has its own priorities, of course, and often its own way of doing things, GRC leaders are now, today, recognizing the power of sharing data and intelligence to drive better results and build a stronger and more resilient organization, obviously. And when we want to define the GRC, as you can see, it has 3 components, which is one of the G for governance. R refers for risk, and C refers for compliance. So we can say governance combines these 3 components and refers to an organization strategy for handling the interdependencies among the following 3 components. Corporate governance policies, first of it, and second of it is the enterprise risk management programs, and third one is regulatory and company compliance. And I will refer to OCEG in detail. It is a non-profit think tank. GRC emerged as a discipline in the early 21st century when companies recognized that coordinating the people, processes, and technologies they use to manage governance, risk, and compliance could benefit them in 2 ways. A centralized synthesis approach would help ensure their organization acts ethically, competent, and compliant. It would also help them achieve their business goals by reducing the inefficiencies. So today we will just focus on the elements, components of GRC, its approach, because it would also help everyone to achieve their business goals by reducing the threats, risks, and raising the communication and preventing miscommunication, and other perils of a slow approach of governance, risk, and compliance. Today's why we need GRC. Today's rapidly changing business and regulatory environment requires thinking about risk in many ways, new ways. Organizations face a range of pressures brought on by the need of balanced transformation and creating value with compliance and changing regulation, a fast-moving and unpredictable risk landscape, and growing competition, of course. So taking an innovative approach, taking advantage in this approach to manage and enhance governance, risk, and compliance activities can help you and your organization to meet the opportunities, to find new opportunities, to stay ahead with uncertainty, and to meet the stakeholders' expectations, of course. Generally, GRC needs triggered by different kind of regulations, legislations, and rules applied in the sector, in the country, in the organization, of course. So it's a must for some companies. It's a step to be fully compliant and fully adaptive regarding the GRC. So what's driving interest in GRC? Basically, as I mentioned, today, risk landscape is crowded, more uncertain. In many topics, it could be geographical, political, environmental, financial, macroeconomical, and it is interconnected than ever. One risk, say a health and safety issue, can spill over the supply chain, business continuity, business relationships, IT security, workforce productivity, and more. At the same time, multiple forces are reshaping the risk terrain. It includes rising pace and scope of regulatory compliance, which means virtually every organization in every industry is facing an ever-growing and ever-changing number of regulations with which they must comply. And the second motivation to adopt GRC is accelerating digitalization of risk management in today's habitat. I mean, most of the process requires digital transformation, as you can see. So the GRC has also to do that. So it means I could mention the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, third parties, blockchain. Every new point of access has vulnerability and increases risk exponentially. But also we can see the other side of it because it increases the opportunities in the market and in the business. So it's good to know, it's good to be in line with the latest best standards, best practices, which has good formulation and methodology in GRC implementation. And third one is growing importance of risk management in corporate strategy. Risk management is increasingly sorry for interruption. The third one, growing importance of risk management in corporate strategy. It means risk management is increasingly viewed not just a technical function, but as a valuable part of corporate strategy. So the fourth one is evolving sophistication of analytics, So it means better analytics should be delivered in new levels of insight of data-driven decisions, of course. Most of the components, governance, risk, and compliance helps you to take better decisions in strategic levels or tactical levels. So the GRC will be the holistic approach following the latest best practice of ERM, combining with compliance and other elements such as governance. Yeah, we will go further in detailing further of the three components now. These three activities traditionally function more or less separately. In a GRC approach, each of the three components continues to interact with and support existing business functions, but the intersection of these three is where the benefits become apparent. In the past, organizations often approach governance and risk and compliance as a separate activities. It is traditional risk management, we could say. Processes and systems frequently were created in response to a specific event, incident, or new regulation, litigation, or a data breach or audit finding. So it means with little thought as to how that worked within the whole. The result was a tangle of inefficiencies, redundancies, and inaccuracies, including lack of visibility into the complete risk landscape, conflicting actions, unnecessary complexity, inability to assess the effects of the risk. So the traditional risk management was popular in 80s, 90s, but after that, ERM gave us lots of solutions to combine these elements and to approach holistically in the organization. The reality is that there's plenty of overlap between compliance, governance, and risk. Each of the three disciplines creates information of value to other two, and all three impact the same technologies, people, processes, and information. An organization, for instance, might be subject to a new data privacy regulation, and it's also our fact of today's world, or a compliance activity, while also holding itself to certain internal data protection controls as a governance activity, both of which help mitigate cyber risk, means a risk management activity. So when the three disciplines of GRC are managed separately, there's a substantial duplication of tasks, duplicated reports, duplicated mitigation plans, duplicated action plans. So all the process owners, the risk owners, used to focus on their own risk, but it's also there was a gap, lack of understanding that the risks in the organizations affect each other. They have sometimes many commons together, so they need to be managed together to get better results, to prevent and duplicated reports effect, cost, and plans. So when the three disciplines of GRC are managed separately, multiple teams end up spending hours collecting the same data, working with the same data, working hours more untangling email threads and spreadsheets just to begin analysis. More damaging, disconnected processes and lack of transparency leave the organizations blind to insights and interrelationships between the risks and compliance items. So it was also undermining the whole system by allowing gaps and redundancies of controls to go unnoticed. Siloed teams also have no understanding on how their particular domain influences the company's risk positions as a whole, and it's all over success. In short, managing GRC is a separate silos. is a lot of extra effort, and that effort produces very little reward. Without an integrated view of all GRC-related activities, it is nearly impossible to identify issues and the threats or the opportunities. A damaging risk can easily slip by undetected and unaddressed because they couldn't be recorded, that they couldn't be identified, the full impact until it was too late. It becomes an incident at the end. So it's good to combine these three main components in GRC. When it comes to the definitions, as you can see on the presentation, governance refers to the ethical management of an organization by its leaders in accordance with approved business plans and strategies. And risk management refers to an organization process for identifying, categorizing, assessing, and enacting strategies to minimize risks that would hinder its operations and to control risks that enhance operations. And the compliance refers to the level of adherence an organization has to the standards, laws, and regulations and best practices mandated by the business and by relevant governing bodies and laws, of course, authorities and other legislation. And now you can see on the presentation an isolated and fragmented framework that we used to work on them before. A GRC framework is a model of managing governance and compliance risk in a company. It involves identifying the key policies that can drive the company toward its goals. By adopting a GRC framework, you can take a proactive approach to mitigating risk, making well-informed decisions, and ensuring business continuity. Companies implement GRC by adopting GRC frameworks that contain key policies that align with the organization's strategic objectives. Key stakeholders base their work on a shared understanding from the GRC framework as they devise policies, structure workflows, and govern their processes and the legislation policies. So companies sometimes might use software to coordinate and monitor the success of the GRC framework. We will mention it afterwards. In the previous framework that you see as an isolated and fragmented, there is a lack of integration between compliance initiatives. Many companies also approach governance and risk management and compliance in an uncoordinated and fragmented fashion. So this has significant consequences. For example, corporate governance is sometimes seen mainly as a formal response to requirements rather than an integral part of the company's management structures and processes. So we can say that all of these three elements didn't talk to each other in the isolated and fragmented framework. Risk management may also focus too heavily on operational risks, sometimes failing to support strategic decision processes or fail to identify the compliance part sometimes. So compliance may be restricted to legal regulations, just legal regulations, or to the retirement of voluntary standards or obligations. Thus companies often they fail to use risk management as an early warning system with regard to possible weaknesses in corporate governance and meeting-related compliance initiatives. In shortly, we can say much greater integration between all GRC activities is required in order to gain the full benefit from them. Only then can companies begin to identify the potential synergies to be obtained by integrating various compliance initiatives, for example, by standardization of the documentation standards or technology support. One of the consequences of the fragmented approach to various risk management and compliance initiatives is the emergence of the heterogeneous reporting structures. This prevents management from obtaining a comprehensive overview of key compliance and risk indicators. So that then integrated view of the company's compliance and risk status is not available. This is particularly important for senior management since inadequate reporting and monitoring of GRC activities increase the risk of non-compliance. The heterogeneous reporting structures result not only from a lack of organizational integration, but also due to the differing IT application used to support the various risk management and compliance initiatives. These applications often have no interfaces with each other, so that considerable manual effort is required, leading to increased risk of error and high cost, of course. So duplicated heterogeneous systems, they don't talk to each other. They lead to the resource-intensive reporting processes. They draw on diverse applications, and they don't actually had the chance to manage the diverse applications and processes and organization frameworks. They don't talk to each other. These systems also generally do not allow the use of comparable criteria, standards, or methods to analyze risk and other compliance-relevant information across the whole company. As a consequence, the process of the compliance and risk information and aggregating the compliance and risk information and providing this to management in structured and meaningful form becomes very complex and cumbersome. Now, next, you will see the best practice holistic framework of GRC on the screen. As you can see, they are more integrated. They have communication and interaction to each other, and you can see business processes in the base, including supporting IT processes and compliance, risk management, and governance together. They have much more solid connection to each other. Transforming an individual GRC initiative into a sustainable process will in itself deliver substantial short and medium-term benefits. However, in order to obtain the maximum benefit from governance, risk management, and compliance, GRC initiatives must also be integrated into a holistic management approach. The short, medium, and long-term benefits offered by holistic GRC management include the examples like the creation of flexible and sustainable structure and processes supported by appropriate technology in order to fulfill current stakeholder requirements efficiently, effectively, and to enable the company to respond to the new requirements flexibly and efficiently. Other advantage would be the reduction of the costs related to governance, risk management, and compliance initiatives, and the internal control systems. And what else? The establishment of risk-based decision-making processes, the reduction of non-compliance risk, avoiding associated penalties and loss of reputation, and enabling the company to increase its value over the long term. And also it helps the creation of further value of the company to the realization of synergy potential and organizational improvements prompted by the fulfillment of the stakeholder requirements. And in embedding the ethical values in the corporate culture helps itself and helps the creation of an opportunity and risk culture in the company, of course. So we also recommend as risk professionals to get a holistic approach in ERM enterprises and also in GRC, of course. The holistic GRC management can thereby become a strategic tool for the top management to achieve competitive advantage, to differ as a company from the competitors. An effective integration of governance with risk management and compliance will enable companies to take better decisions on how to respond to a variety of risks, including that of non-compliance. By integrating their risk response into their existing structures and processes, companies will be able to manage the risk of non-compliance as they do all other business risks. In this way, an isolated in-compliance initiative can become an integrated GRC activity that clearly supports the achievement of corporate objectives. Now, on this slide, you can see the 5 maturity levels. First of them is slowed, the second of them transition, third of them manage, fourth of them transform, and the advantage one. So why this is important? Because using a maturity model that assesses your GRC position is an excellent way to identify where you are now. And you then can compare your current state to where you want to be and evaluate that against the value and cost of further investment in the management of risk. The more mature your GRC program, the more effective you will be in making decisions, taking the right risks, and achieving better outcomes for the organization. The maturity model for integrated GRC focuses on building the 5 levels of capability outlined here over time and implementing the broad strategy as a series of tactical, intelligently designed actions. Slowed is compliance-driven maturity level. The slowed stage focuses on baseline activities needed to manage risk and is the starting point for all organizations. At this stage, the organization is not necessarily deficient in its approach, but coordination across functions is very limited. And the second major level transition is activities focused on improving effectiveness are underway to stabilize processes and expand programs scope. And the third one, manage, we call it risk-centric. The manage stage depicts the phase at which organizations react to coordinated and sustainable program. The GRC program at this point is effective and achieving its objectives. But there's still a lack of critical connection. So that will turn the effort into valuable contributor to the business strategy in the managed stage. The first stage, matrix level, is transform. It's a transformative initiatives executed to build better connection between risk and business. This stage helps move to the next level, help the organization move to the next level with initiatives that evolve critical capabilities and set the stage for advanced capabilities. And the last major level that we are willing to be in is advantage, opportunity focus, we say. Processes are optimized and balanced by business contexts and risk priorities. The advantaged stage is designed to be achievable for most organizations. This is not an ideal pie-in-the-sky aspiration, but an advanced stage of matrix that optimizes the GRC program. At this point, risk and compliance is a part of business operations, and the organization reaps the benefits of a coordinated program. Of course, we mentioned lots of strengths of GRC, but it also have limitations. From now on, I will mention to the strengths and limitations of GRC. GRC strength and limitations, if properly implemented, GRC policies and practices and software offer the lots of benefits, such as reduced costs by eliminating redundant and disconnected processes, resources, and tools. GRC simplifies operations, efficiently decreasing the waste of time and money. And the second strength can be security. GRC provides increased visibility into risks, threats, and vulnerabilities, enabling businesses to secure their infrastructure from cybersecurity and other threat vectors, of course. And compliance is some of the strengths it provides. GRC helps organizations achieve ongoing compliance with required standards and regulations. And protection from penalties, also in our pocket. And by helping them achieve compliance, GRC protects businesses against unfavorable internal audits, financial penalties, litigations, etc. And of course, reduce risks. Companies using GRC can see reduction in risk across the entire organization, including business risk, financial risk, operational risk, and security risks, of course. And operational efficiency, we could mention. GRC enables organizations to get information quickly and accurately. It reduces duplication of efforts and automates routine tasks and workflows, which enhance operational efficiency. And the other strength is transparency and accountability. We can just count lots of strengths and limitations, but these are the main strengths, I believe. GRC encourages business to be transparent about their practices, which builds trust with stakeholders. However, if GRC isn't properly implemented or if senior management support for GRC is minimal, it's the most important thing, I think, and the potential issues can emerge. Problems include high costs related to reduced risk visibility, reduced performance due to weak risk visibility, and fragmentation across the organization departments and workforce. So what we need to do and what shouldn't we do about GRC practices? There are some do's and don'ts of GRC practices. Managing governance, risk, and compliance is one of the organization's most important and complex activities. As your organization establishes a GRC program, keep the following, keep the do's and don'ts in mind that I will mention now. What you can do about GRC to get a successful GRC framework and approach. You should be prepared to justify the integration of GRC activities using a business case approach. You can secure senior management support and funding for a GRC program. Carefully examining the possible approaches to a GRC program and develop a project plan can help significantly. If you have a software and software is a part of your plan, performance of the due diligence will be improved. Of course, when selecting software product, you should also follow the due diligence process again. Preparing and delivering awareness and training activities to sell employees and management on the value of integrated GRC activities can help. And recognizing that not all employees will be in the same level of awareness regarding GRC program. Ensure that you explain and raise awareness of them to mention the benefits of the most benefits to the process owners and risk owners and all to the board, of course, if you are reporting to the board. If you are looking to get a better understanding of GRC or implement GRC, I believe that there are companies, which are mainly open to the stock market. bigger organizations, international organizations, or if they need to follow the compliance requirements of the international standards and open stock markets and latest legislation and regulations. So you will need to adapt just GRC program with a better understanding and awareness program as well, because you need to explain to business owners, process owners, managers, and employees that they will benefit from GRC. They will be able to manage the risk properly and better, and be in line and compliant with the latest legislation and regulations. So partnering with an IT, we also develop an effective system rollout plan. And you will see in other slides of this presentation how we can use the softwares, how we can implement them. Providing opportunities for employees to test the system before it's put into the production will be one of the other strengths of GRC and other do's of GRC, I mean. And you should also note employee comments during the test period and share them with the technology vendor. It helps to provide regular briefings to senior management and employees on the program status, of course. And implementing the rollout, checking for the issues, resolving them quickly will also support you in this journey. Establishing a system maintenance and updating process, of course, will be the main issues to-dos, will be one of the main to-dos. And other to-do is ensuring the new system is indicated in DR plans, and establishing a program to track program performance and share results with employees and management, also essential in the to-do list of GRC implementation. And what we shouldn't do while implementing GRC and while also using GRC process, we shouldn't assume that an integrated GRC program will benefit the company. It may not. It might not. Sometimes it is a very expensive process to implement and embed in your own process, in your current processes and the program. So you will not have to, as risk management, it's not like a sales project. So you might not see the quantitative results in your financial records, financial status for a while, for a long time maybe. So the main is to be compliant and to manage the risks, to prevent any threats and incidents, and of course to chase the opportunities. So it's not just a financial focused thing to implement. So we shouldn't assume that senior management will quickly embrace a GRC program, because GRC is a very complex topic, I think. So some of the risk professionals, some of the senior managers even don't have that much awareness on GRC. So it's you will just need to chase the best practices and standards on this journey. So you shouldn't assume all employees will just adapt the GRC program rapidly, and you shouldn't assume that it means changing the way they have performed their work over the years. It will be difficult for them, this change and transformation. So you will see the results together, not in a short span, but in a strategic level of time. Yeah, you shouldn't forget to examine the different approaches to a GRC program. Consider a maturity model. So, and you should also conduct a minimalist examination analysis of business processes when determining if an integrated GRC approach will work. Understand the business as much as possible. So one of the don'ts are, don't hesitate to contact other organizations to see if their GRC approach worked. This is especially important if GRC software is being considered, because GRC software is something that you need to be careful to choose and implement. So you can get the feedback and you can get the other organizations' opinion and their experience from them. Don't hesitate to communicate. And don't fail to collaborate with IT throughout the project, because business analysis is quite important. I mean, it's so important in this area as well, because everyone needs to understand what you want to tell about the risk score, GRC scores, GRC dashboards, GRC results. So they need to be in the line of same terminology and same understanding. So it takes time. So if you can collaborate with IT and use some kind of business analysis project, start some business project between the process owners, IT providers. So it will be a useful software for your organization, I think. And don't assume employees and management will attend awareness and training sessions every time, because they won't, because most of the organizations, most of the process owners are drawn in operational level, tactical level. So, and their time should be planned carefully to sustain the continuous approach of this awareness program. This is where management support can help you. And don't ignore the importance of having a project plan for a GRC system implementation, of course. And don't get upset if management decides to defer or cancel the program, because it's a hard work to do. It requires a better understanding of risk appetite in the board and C-levels and the decision makers level. It requires lots of effort and lots of awareness. So the implementation. So we have 4 implementation steps to implement the GRC. We call it GRC capability model. The GRC capability model contains guidelines that help companies to implement GRC and achieve principled performance. It ensures a common understanding of communication, policies, and training. You can take a cohesive and structured approach to incorporate GRC operations across your organization. One of them is learn. You learn about the context, values, culture of your company, and thus you can define strategies and actions that is reliably achieve objectives. The second one is align. Ensure that your strategy, actions, and objectives are in alignment. You do so by considering opportunities, threats, and values, requirements while making decisions. And perform, of course. It encourages you to take actions that bring results, avoiding those hinder goals, monitoring your operations to detect sudden changes. And the review part, of course, in every management system, and such as the risk management, quality management, you need to have the review and revisit your strategy and actions to ensure that you align with the business goals. So at the end, you need to be in align with your business goals, implementing any of this methodology. For example, regulatory changes could require a change of approach, so you should deal with that too. Companies of all sizes face challenges that can endanger revenue, reputation, and customer and stakeholder interests. Some of the challenges you can face can be internet connectivity, introducing cyber risk that may compromise data storage security for you. Businesses needing to comply with new and or updated regulatory requirements can be a challenge. Companies needing data privacy and protection also is part thing to achieve. Companies facing more uncertainties in the modern business landscape is also one of the challenges. And risk management costs, of course, they are really high. They are increasing at an unpredictable rate. So it means it's a very huge challenge too. And complex third-party business relationship increasing the risk and, of course, the GRC implementation risk. So these challenges create demand for a strategy to navigate businesses toward their goals. Conventional third-party risk management and regulatory compliance methods are not enough now, unfortunately. Hence, GRC was introduced as an unified approach to help stakeholders make accurate decisions. So we have 8 minutes to finish the presentation, but I will go through some roles and responsibilities. If you have questions, please write in the chat section or Q&A section. So I will reply to it if I have time for it. For now, if I don't within this webinar, I will contact you individually to answer your questions. And roles and responsibilities. On the screen, you can see some kind of some processes like cybersecurity, operational risk, audit, third-party risk, ESG, and sustainability and compliance. It's just an example. Of course, lots of the frameworks, roles and responsibilities, organizations related to GRC and risk management differs from company to company because of their risk culture, because of their management culture. So it's basically summarized the operations of, for example, a holding company, which wants to be in line with the GRC implementation. So a successful GRC program integrates into a company culture, ethics, and principles. Compliance isn't just about rules, it's about behavior and culture. So professionals at various levels of the enterprise, like chief risk and compliance officer, have become an important nexus of GRC inside the cost organization. Let us give a look at few executive roles that are usually considered by organizations to take up the challenge to maintain world-class GRC program across the organization. And if you see lots of C-levels in the risk and compliance part, you can say the maturity level of the GRC is in the advanced position. So one of the roles that we mentioned can be CRO, Chief Risk Officer. Risk manager's roles has evolved from that of managing a predetermined set of risk exposures to identifying core business areas where the company should be willing to retain risk to seize growth opportunities and generate returns for investors. This ties risk management to business performance and changes the risk management from an exclusive centralized function to a federated top-down approach, aligned centrally with business objectives, and reporting and assessments are distributed to lines of business for ownership, execution, and accountability. By managing risk, appetite, and response to risks, chief risk officers drive organizational behavior today. So the other position in C-level can be CAO, which is Chief Audit Officer. Audit managers are accountable for monitoring risks, also risk, and ensure compliance across the organization silos, and the role is evolving into independent and horizontal function. This requires a common framework for all types of audits, like financial risk, operational, internal audits, suppliers audits, compliance audits, such that auditing priorities are determined with are identified by an enterprise-level risk-based approach and not departmental or tactical imperatives. And other one is CQO, Chief Quality Officer. The role is the combination of product proliferation, outsourced manufacturing operations, a stringent regulatory environment, and Customer requirements is driving quality managers to proactively manage their quality processes. Quality managers are leveraging the best practice that cover integrated process for compliance with internal quality standards and policies and industry mandates such as TS 16,949, ISO, other ISO standards, and service management standard, and also ISO 22,000, Six Sigma, and other management systems. So, and we can say the risk management and ERM is also encouraged by some of the ISO quality standards, because first it was like risk assessment in operational level in health and safety, for example, or in quality management, but then the standards and international standards organization encourage and release some requirements in their standards that push you to implement better kind of holistic approach of risk management, of course, the GRC. So I think the quality officers and quality management teams are so important in this transformation. Chief Information Officer, CIO, with IT governance and compliance process becoming inclusive of multiple internal and external stakeholders. So also they work IT governance framework, which ensures the information and systems integrity, data security and privacy, and compliance to qualify mandates like COVID, ISO, and COSO standards. And we have CFO, of course, for financial reporting, performance management, budgeting, and other financial processes. They are provided by CFO and their teams. And of course, Chief Compliance Officer, CCO, compliance managers are entrusted with ensuring the organization has processing controls to meet requirements. And there are some tools and softwares you can use in your GRC processes. Once in place, GRC dashboards and data analytic tools can help administrators to identify the organization risk exposure. Some examples of open source GRC tools that can help compliance professionals you can take note of them or Google it. You can find some of the open source GRC tools as Redmine, Mantis PT, OpenRisk, and the following three. So I don't want to give that more examples of it because you can just figure out which one works for your organization better. So it's really important to identify and manage risk and regulatory compliance and managing the software installations in this journey. So, and we will have a quick quiz for this webinar with 5 questions. And I will share the link with you if you want to answer it. It will be useful to get certification for this webinar. Thank you for your attendance and patience and your consideration today on this GRC webinar. Hope it helps you to get better understanding of GRC, helps you to just get feedback from risk professionals working in the GRC projects for a while. So, and these are the main communication that you can main email addresses of CFSORT. If you have any questions or feedbacks about this webinar, we will have some webinar series and training series on the topics such as GRC, risk management, and compliance, business continuity in a short span. So if you just follow the pages of CFSORT on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, on X, and on Instagram, you can just contact my colleagues from certification service and training services as well. I will be pleased to answer your questions too. And now I will just send you the link of the test that includes 5 questions for you, 5 easy questions for you. Thank you for that. I shared the link with you, with all of you from the webinar chat section. Please try to answer them and send your feedback to us. Thank you for that. Thank you for attending this webinar today. Have a nice day. Bye.